Hello, I'm Dell, and welcome to what you need to know about home studios for social media. In this episode, we continue our theme of increasing our sophistication and complexity in our shows. So come on back. So what is the purpose of this video? Well, to be quite honest, we're continuing on our theme of adding a little more elegance, a little more sophistication to each one of our shows, each one of our builds, each one of our temporary things we got going on. And at the last show, we went to all scene audio so that we could then listen to our virtual conference software, our remote guest, in pre-stream and post-stream without the stream hearing our conversation. And we accomplished that by using scene audio. We made one scene audio that was monitor only, and we used that for pre-stream and post-stream. And then we made another one that was monitor and output, or monitor and write to the show. That one we nested in with the Zoom, with the video. So if I show their picture, the stream can hear them talking. And if I don't show their picture, I don't even hear them speak unless it's pre-stream or post-stream. Now we do have that little panel. They can chat to me. They can say they want to come in or they want to correct something or whatever. They can still communicate and they can still see me. We can do sign language. We can still do timing, you know, that kind of thing. We can do cut it or, you know, wrap it up, time, because they can see us through that virtual conference software. But we get to running into a lot of different things. And in order for us to not broadcast our side of the conversation, we had to remember to run down and mute our copy in OBS of that Yeti mic. Now, when you start a show, you're a one-man show for the most part. Maybe you have two people to help. But in radio, you normally have an on-air person, maybe multiple on-air people. You might have a person in color. And then you would have someone running the engineering aspect to make sure that the hardware and the audio and all that stuff is working and mics are hot and things are coming in if you're doing remote. And then you would have a producer who may even be the same guy as the engineer depending on the budget of the show. But you have a producer that's watching the clock and keeping the timing and making sure you hit your breaks when you're supposed to and running your advertisements when you're supposed to and doing weather, news, weather, and sports when you're supposed to and answering the phone to put them through if it's a talk radio show, that kind of thing. You know, sometimes they mess up because you know what? Radio happens. Now, in this case of a live stream, it's like radio on steroids because you not only have the same aspects of keeping your audio correct, but now you have video. And now you have an opportunity to miss a scene, to miss a show, to miss a slide, as well as all of those other things that's going on. So what we're going to do is do away with our global Yeti microphone so that it can be more automated and we don't have to worry about whether or not we're broadcasting in the stream, and we can still talk to our guests and nobody hear us. So here we go. Before we go into detail about how we're going to implement scene audio with our microphone, we need to review what we did with our Zoom audio. Okay, so let's go ahead and turn our console on. And when we get to the pre-stream has Zoom monitor. It's just monitoring the cable so that we can hear them in our headphones through OBS. And post-stream is exactly the same way. So this is monitor only. It just takes that pipe of this left-hand panel into our ears. If we look how we got it, Zoom cable F and Yeti mic. So our Yeti mic is always going to our guest. So think of it that way. It's just like a radio show. If you call in, they put you on hold, you can hear the radio, but the radio can't hear you. So in case you jump up, down, act a fool, whatever, you don't go over the air. Same way here. Our guest, our distinguished guest, can hear us the whole time, so they can hear it when we're getting ready to interview them or introduce them. And today from Albuquerque, New Mexico is our special guest, and they can hear you. Your stream cannot hear them with this setup in this monitor cable, because we set it up to be monitor, no output. How do we get the special guest to our stream? We use Zoom panel matted. This one scene, we put it at the lowest level, treated it like a camera, and put a microphone there as if a camera had the microphone. We put Zoom, gave it its audio cable, which is the return of that sound. So we have Yeti microphone always going to our guest, and now we have our guest audio coming to us, so that whenever we show their picture as it's been captured by that left-hand panel, we now have them in stream. So this is nested in this Zoom left panel for nesting, which is that little inset, and it's there in the full screen Zoom broadcast where we nest ourselves. So that's how we get the Zoom audio. Any other place, any other scene that we've got going on inside of our program, the guest audio does not go into our stream. Can we do that with our microphone? We can, but as we discussed in an inconvenient audio, if I were to come up here and let me put my main scene back on, transfer it over. If I were to come in here and turn my face off, if my microphone was in my camera, like we did Zoom panel matted over here, as soon as I went to a scene that did not have my camera, my lovely face in there, just like we do Zoom, we would have no audio. So I'm going to do it backwards from the way we did Zoom. I'm going to come up and put my audio in the high level side. Now we have global microphone down here, and if we don't want to broadcast when we hit pre-stream, we have to remember to turn that off, to mute it. And that's a lot to remember, because if we come up to our scene where we have pre-stream running, it's telling our friends we're getting ready to go live, and we're talking to our guest, and we're thinking about what we got going on, and we got 100 things on our mind, and then we cue our intro music, and we're ready to switch in, and then we switch scenes, and we forget to turn that mic back on. We got a buggered up intro. So what I want to do is I want to fix that. Just a reminder, I want to fix that. So I'm going to go to my center panel, and I'm going to make a scene audio. And because I'm so darn imaginative again, I'm going to add in, call this. Now we're going to come up here, and we're going to pull our Yeti mic, and we're going to say OK. And because I have the scene loaded both in preview and program, this is a reminder. I did this on purpose to remind you that if I make a change in a preview screen, the change does not take effect until I transition. So right now you don't see Yeti mic scene, because this is the broadcast. This is the program, not the preview. This is the preview. If we are in studio mode, I have Yeti scene here. So when I transition, I'm going to have two Yeti microphones, and we're probably going to get some slapback. Why? Because one is a global audio and the other is a scene audio, and they're asynchronous. They're not in step. There's a time delay in between it. And let's check that theory. Okay. How does it sound now? Do we have an echo? I suspect we do. So I fixed that by now turning off our global audio. Now the only place in our entire show that we have this microphone is in the console or the center panel that you see here. Well, there's something I want to do before we go too far. Let me be quiet, and I want you to watch the green down here. Well, this is a reminder that we want to add a filter. Now we can either come up here to filter, or we can click the cog and bring filters up here, but we're going to add a noise gate. And what a noise gate is it's like a squelch on an old radio. We covered this in the previous show. Now we can turn these down to make it a little bit more sensitive if we want, and we can change the attack time, but the defaults will be good enough. Now I click that. Let's see if it works. I'm going to hush and see if we go down to 0. It does. So that works out good. But that's not the only filter I want, so I'm going to go do the filter the other way. I'm going to come up here to the top, click filters that way, and add a compressor. And review what a compressor is a compressor allows me a more uniform volume in my voice. If I turn toward the microphone, it's going to be a little bit louder, a little bit brighter. And if I turn toward the zoom panel, it's probably going to be a little bit more diminished because I'm not speaking into the microphone. Well, what this does is it gives, by this ratio, it compresses, it brings the bottom up and the top down. But I'm also going to use it to increase my output. I'm going to increase this by about 9 dB, and you should be hearing me get louder. I do that because I want some potting room over here on my slider. I want some room to adjust that up in case for some reason I'm sitting back and my audio is getting a little bit low. I can crank it back up. So now I have a good microphone, scene microphone made up. Where am I going to put it? Well, I think I'll add it wherever I'm expected to talk. Because again, if I were to put it in a scene, one of these low-level scenes by itself, I would not broadcast audio. And I don't want to do that. I want to stay up toward the top. Let's look at main scene. I'm going to add it to main scene. Now we've added this local or scene audio of this microphone to 2 locations. The center panel where we're watching from now, and we added it to main scene. So wherever the main scene is, if I'm playing the main scene, I'm going to get microphone. I'm going to get 1 copy of it on there, but my program paying this one, I have audio because I put it in to the center panel. Right there it is, Yeti scene. Now if I want to check main scene, I have it there on the main scene, but when I transition, I still only have 1 copy. You really need to watch that video and inconsistent audio, because this, when we're nesting these sounds, this is a serious business. You can really come up with some ugly noises. We've already duplicated for repetition the slapback on the global versus local or global versus scene audio, and we're getting ready to do the loss of the sound wherever we put it. Now if I put it in, if I switch to main camera, we have no audio. If I go back to main scene, we'll have audio. They look identical. So what I've done is I've created a little text to put up here. This is the main scene. If you see text, you should hear the microphone, okay, because it's down here. When I switch, if I just come down here and put main camera, the main camera does not have audio. You can still hear me during this recording because we're actually running in the program the console, which is the center panel, and it has microphone. You see? So I'm going to go through this and I'm just going to compare the main scene, which you'll hear me speak, and then main camera, which you won't hear me speak. Here we go. You ready? You should be able to hear me now. Now you can. And that's because where we put this. Now I'm also going to put it in, make sure that I have it in left panel and right panel and main scene. Let me put it back to the center panel so you can see what we're doing. There we go. We're going to make sure that we have it in the left panel, in right panel, and we know it's in the center panel, and it's in the main scene. So what do we got going on with the pre-stream? Nothing. We automatically now can speak to our guest, and it won't go across our stream. Post-stream, exactly the same way. You see it down here because that's the center panel. But in the preview side, there's no Yeti microphone in either one of these scenes. So we've automatically fixed our situation. We have automated what we got going on. So now I can talk directly to my guest at any time that Zoom is running because it is a copy of that microphone. I can hear them in the pre-stream time because I have a monitor only audio, so I can hear them. Once we go live to main scene, at that point I have no Zoom audio coming to me. When I go down to Zoom Panomatic, anything that has that in there, it has monitored out, so we write to our stream. So in pre-stream, we can talk. There's no adjustments needs to be done. We can talk. The audience doesn't hear us. The stream doesn't hear us. The people don't hear us. Pre-stream, post-stream, hang on, we got to wrap this up, or we got to whatever we might do, and we talk. But if I want them to come across, the Zoom audio to come across the stream, I play their picture, their face, the Zoom video. If I don't, I go to anywhere in this system and they don't broadcast. Now that's pretty sweet what we just set up. We set up so that we don't have to manually remember to mute and unmute our audio. But there's more that we can do with this than just that. Let's look at this. We brought up the console. Let's go over here and let's make a new scene, and we're going to call this promo. Now we're going to go into promo and push it up toward the top under Zoom, and we're going to add in promo something. There we are, media source. We're going to add in promo video. Again, because we have such an imagination for this stuff. So there we are. We're going to browse, and I don't see the one I'm looking for, so I'm going to type in promo. There's my little video I have. Let's bring it up, and now I'm going to say OK. Now, when we play this video, it's going to go to the default, which is volume maxed out and all tracks being written to with no monitor. So we got to trip it one time to bring that volume down, and we're in good shape. Let's go ahead. Welcome, friends and visitors, to Del Hollow Productions. This is okay. Now the way I set this is we now have promo video in here. We brought the volume down so it's not maxed out, and we can't hear it. If I have my earphones on, I can't hear it. I can't hear what's in the promo. Of course, I know what's in the promo, okay, because I'm on this side of the screen. So there's something else I want to add in here. Let's add in audio input capture, and we're going to go back to last video where we going to add Zoom monitor cable F. So now what's going to happen? Now I can talk to my guest while the promo runs, because we always have the Yeti mic feeding Zoom or whatever software we're using, and now I've piped their sound back in monitor only into my scene. So now when I switch, welcome, friends and visitors. I can talk and you can't hear me, and they can talk and I can hear them. So I can, it's just amazing what we can do with a little bit of imagination. Now, if you enjoyed this video, I would like to ask you to go ahead and subscribe to one or both of the channels. I have a channel on YouTube, it's an old channel, RLDL 149, and on Rumble. Now, Rumble plays about 2 weeks in advance, and so if you get on the Rumble player and subscribe to Del Hollow Productions, no spaces, you should get an advanced version of what you'll eventually see on YouTube. So give me a listen, leave a comment, please watch the videos, tell your friends, all that kind of good stuff, and we'll see you on the next video.